Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by SoundWeb Studios. Visit online at soundwebstudios.com for all your needs, and brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson's The Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We're an amazingly multi-talented singer-songwriter of 20 plus years from Malta out in the Mediterranean. This is our first heading out to the Mediterranean, and a very beautiful country from what I'm told here. This gentleman grew up in a musical family. His grandfather was a prominent folk singer in the 50s and 60s. And his music is featured on all the music platforms like Spotify, Pandora, YouTube, and his list keeps growing and growing with his amazing down-to-earth music. He also had a previous release, Glimpse of Heaven. We'll be talking about his new album, Man on Earth. We'll be playing Castles on Air at the end of the audio interview, talk about some of the other songs and more, which are quite heartfelt. Live, ladies and gentlemen, from the Plus Studios, beautiful in somewhere Malta as well, too. Very beautiful country. The multi-talented singer-songwriter of 20 plus years, ladies and gentlemen, Antoba. Antoba, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much for such an amazing introduction, and thank you for having me.
Well, it's great to have you on board, Antoba. And you're a singer-songwriter of 20 plus years from Malta. You grew up in a musical family. Your grandfather was a prominent folk singer in the 50s and 60s. Your music has been featured on Spotify, YouTube, Pandora, and all the music platforms that's out there streaming. And you also had a previous release, Glimpse of Heaven. You also did a follow-up called Man on Earth, featuring Castles on Air, Petals of Roses, In Your Hands, and more. And before getting to all that, Antoba, tell us how you first got started.
Yes, absolutely. So, as you well said, I'm based in Malta. I live there. It's the place where I've been living for quite a long time, for many years. But I'm originally from Italy, and my grandpa was quite a famous folk singer in the 50s, 60s, back in Sicily. That's the place where
Oh,
I
wow.
originally
Okay.
come from. Yeah, that's yeah. So my family comes from there, and most of my family is still based there. That's me living on a separate island, which is quite nearby. But it's also very nice because it's more English, of course, more English oriented Malta, where this language is one of the official languages of the island, while in Italy it's Italian primarily. Yeah, and singing and songwriting. I grew up with this desire of singing has always been inside of me. So I play the piano, I play the guitar, I write the lyrics, but the main thing was just a singing thing. Was my passion for singing, which came out in a very natural way since I was a child, and that grew up with me. And then I wanted to, in a way, draw landscapes with my own voice. I've always had this idea of being a painter with my voice and to use different nuances or to play with the echoes of different places. And yes, so that was my primary interest. And then I developed my interest for music, joining choirs when I was very young, developing my voice, and then learning to play the piano. And when I was a teenager, I started listening to Nina Simone, and that music really influenced me and really resonated with me. I really had a huge admiration for her because she was first and foremost a classical trained pianist and then a singer, and that really was a way to yeah, was very important, of utmost importance in my formative years. And then thanks to listening to her, I wanted to learn the piano and to understand better chord progression so that I could support my singing and write eventually my songs.
That's really interesting. And what was that one precise moment that simply influenced you into what you're doing for the rest of your career?
Well, actually, there was a moment when I was 16 and I moved to Dublin for quite some time. So, as you can see, traveling, moving has always been part of my life. And I went to Dublin in the 2000s, and Dublin was a great place to familiarize with pop rock. Music with singer-songwriters, with the local scene of that time, and or the traditional music, which I loved, both instrumental and vocal, traditional Irish songs. that was also very important. In fact, the combination, the real influences of my songwritings, of my upbringing as an artist, were on the one hand the Afro-American music, so gospel, spiritual, as I told you, Nina Simone and many others to mention, and also the Irish old songs, traditional songs, and for example, the first one that comes to mind is um, my young love said to me, my mother won't mind, and my father was like to, for your lack of kind. And
That
something
was
like that.
very nice. I love it. Maybe you think of Danny Boy, kind of along those lines.
Yeah, exactly. Danny Boy, yeah, all the Aristotle songs. So those were really I became very fond of those old songs. And then, anyway, rock songs, songwriting, I joined bands, joined choirs, as I told you, while growing up. And so while I was doing all of this, then I came back from Dublin and so on. I finished my high school, and but during the last year of high school, I was really into writing songs. And one of my classmates, who was a drummer, told me, "Do you know Johnny Mitchell?" And I said, "No, I don't know anything about her." So if you're a songwriter, you should listen to her. And he gave me a copy of Ladies of the Canyon. Yeah, and I love that album. And then I bought Blue and then Court and Spark. And then I really tried to, of course, she's untouchable. She's amazing. She's one of the biggest artists of all time. But I started thinking that lyrics need to be meaningful and they need to convey some messages.
Hmm.
And yes, and then so I started paying attention more to the lyrics, to how to convey messages, because I was in those years, especially as a teenager, I was still very focused on the aesthetics of music. How it sounds, what I like, or the emotional, or how the emotions that music can convey, or other things around skipping one of the main things, which are the lyrics, in my opinion.
Hmm. That's really
And
no.
yes,
Go ahead. You were saying. I'm sorry.
tell me.
No. I was just gonna say you've been in. You grew up in Italy. You went to Dublin. You're in Malta. Were there any other countries that you traveled in and experienced some music? And what countries have you been in? And what music did you get involved with?
Yeah, okay. So basically, I started my journey in the musical world as a singer in the first place by joining classical choirs and then gospel choirs, and gospel music, spiritual songs, and Afro American singing that influenced me a lot. And in my first album, Glimpses of Heaven, it's a sort of pop rock album with deep spiritual and gospel influences. That's the main thing. This is how all of this started. I was part of the choir. I was singing in church, and all of these songs. They started as some kind of worship and praise songs. Some of them are really sorts of prayers, but others are more into songwriting. So if you listen to Glimpses of Heaven, there's a song like In Your Hands, which was a song which is a prayer, basically. And it's a song that with which people started noticing me. And I started having gigs, or people used to ask me to sing it. He had several, he used to be broadcast on radios as well. And the people started noticing me with that song. But there are also other songs like Fly High, which is very pop rock, or Sun on My Face, which are not really gospel oriented. So it's a mix. My first album was a mix of all of my different musical experiences. On the one hand, there was some gospel, some contemporary Christian rock music, and on the other hand, some more intimate songs such as "Come as I Am," which is quite an intimate one.
Okay. All right. And we cover Glimpses of Heaven and Ray. We'll be talking about your new album, Man on Earth, featuring Castles on there in just a minute. First, listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SonicWeb Studios. Visit online at SonicWebStudios.com for all your needs. Looking at a professional website without breaking your budget, SonicWeb Studios is the answer. SonicWeb Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today, 1-800-303-3960. It's 1-800-303-3960 or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give an official shout out to our official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you'll love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those you love will be their first go missing. It's available on Amazon in paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has garnered great reviews and even loved and enjoyed by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forge Riley, and Manels. So grab your copy today for Goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, check out the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com on over 40 podcast platforms, heard in over 100 countries, including Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, Anchor FM, iTunes, Google Play, Amazon, Audible, and also on BitChute and Rumble, heard on HamiltonRadio.net every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Central Eastern, 9 p.m. Eastern, 8 p.m. Central. Take the Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device. Subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. Follow the Mike Wagner Show on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok today. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. T-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies. Makes great gifts 24/7. Go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast. And for more great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia for great books like Missing, Once, and Wrinkles. Also T-shirts, pop sockets, hoodies, phone cases, and more. Amazon.com/Mia Molson-Zia. Check it out today. I'll support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. Make sure you do so today. We're here with a multi-talented singer-songwriter of 20-plus years from Malta Antoba here on the Mike Wagner Show. We talked about his release Glimpse of Heaven. Also talked about growing up in a musical family where his grandfather was a prominent folk singer from the 50s and 60s. And we get your newest release, Man on Earth, featuring Castles on Air. And tell us more about Man on Earth and what inspired you to create it.
Okay, Man on Earth. These are all songs that were written on the piano. I wrote them on the piano and in different times, in different moments. And the idea of this album was about, when we always think, I was thinking, I had this image in my mind about the man landing on Mars, the man landing on the moon, but nobody talks about a man landing on Earth. We grew up, but you realize that some of the most difficult things, especially while growing up, are sometimes relationships, whether in any context, whether it's your workplace, whether it's a choir you joined, whether it's your family. So it's like, and you inside of you go through so different emotions, so different things. Sometimes people do not even realize what you're going through, or we don't realize what the others go through. And sometimes it's not very easy, it's not so immediate to say what you think or to share. That's what the album is about. Let's analyze the man landing on the earth as if it was an uncharted territory. And so that was the idea. In fact, the first song, Castles on Air, talks about the difficulty of communication in a relationship and on many levels. And the Petals of Roses, which talks about basically forgiveness. Sometimes you think people have the impression, in my opinion, that forgiveness is for losers. It's like, you did something bad to me, why should I forgive you? I don't think this is the right perspective in relation to this topic. I think that forgiveness is like a healing process, and you give yourself the chance to get rid of that situation and to move on and to appreciate what life has to offer you. And there are other songs like Men on Earth. Men on Earth is a it's a kind of dialogue that I have written between me, in this case, and God. So there is this continual relationship, and this continuum. It's a kind of dialogue between me and God, and the fact that in every human being, in a way, on this earth, always tries to understand what's after this world, that there's something supernatural for sure. And whether you believe in, we all have this urge or need to look for something bigger than us. And at the same time, I do believe that God wants to get in touch with us, whether we like it or not, whether we are listening or not. And so that's what that specific song on the album talks about. And I felt that it was the most meaningful title track to choose as the title of the entire album.
Mm-hmm.
And while I was writing that song, I was inspired by the Weary Blues, written by Langston Hughes. And there was a poem, the Negro speaks of river, and he always used the pronoun, the subject pronoun I. And but when he talks about I, is in a way he's representing all the African people who um, had been abused and gone through the worst thing ever because of slavery. So even though he's using the subject pronoun I, in a way he's embodying all the people who went through the same sufferings as he did. So I'm not talking about suffering in this song, but I had this idea of of the subject pronoun I as a collective noun, because I think that on a different level, everybody needs to experience, this idea of the divine in their lives, asking themselves why I'm here, or what am I doing. That was the idea behind Men on Earth.
That's interesting as well too. I was asking about the inspiration, but being in a gospel choir, been in church for quite a long time, and also the pain and suffering experience as well too. And you also have Petal of Roses and also Moon Tears. I think we haven't covered those two yet, and tell us more about those. And if there's other music we haven't covered as well too, and it has been not released or yet, or we haven't found out, feel free to talk about it as well.
Okay, Moon Tears, it's a very poetic song, has nothing to do with gospel music. Is more my ideas of being free thanks to music. Music is very powerful, and I think that anybody can tell you that. And it's very powerful. If you write it, if you compose music, it's a very powerful tool. But also if you're a listener, because you can feel different emotions on the basis of the genre you're listening to. But Moon Tears actually has a chorus which goes, and it's music all around me, and it's music all around me. So it talks about this freeing experience that music represents for me. I wrote those lyrics when I was in high school, parts of those lyrics, not everything. And I wrote them while I was in class. I think that my professor was speaking, teaching, I don't know what. I wasn't even listening. I wasn't interested in that subject at all. So I was writing.
Now we in the back or something trying to write something down, not be seen or something.
Sorry?
Were you trying to go in the back of the class?
No. Yes, but I was one of the students sitting at the back of the class, writing songs or maybe doing my own stuff. So, yeah, sometimes I was one of those kind of students. Yes, and when I sing live, I often sing a song which is called Man World. You know Man World? Mad World.
Mad World, yes.
Yeah,
I was talking
Mad
to people
World.
about that. Yeah, mad world. movies, TV, film, music, just about everything. Yeah, even the state of the
Yeah,
world
but
today.
that
Yeah.
song resonated with me so much because it talks about the restlessness of a 17-year-old guy, who goes to school and it's like he's the odd one out. It's like he doesn't fit in any possible thing. Maybe, okay, that it's quite extreme, the topic of the song, but it really resonated with me in those times because I was more interested into what I really liked than in what the school had to give me or to offer me in those years.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that while growing up, there are different way of learning. Not only what school tells you to do, but also by cultivating the interest that you have, the books that you want to read, the music that you want to listen to. And I think it's very important to find a balance between the two, to get as much as you can from school, but at the same time to follow your interests, your passions, because in a way, this will move you forward in life, I think.
Mm-hmm. That's rather interesting as well, too. And where can we find Man on Earth and all your music at, Antoba?
Sorry?
Where can we find all your music at?
Okay, so all of my music, as you said before, it's available on Spotify, YouTube, and so on. I am writing new songs, and I think that by February I will have recorded some new stuff, and this time I want to go into another direction. I want to have a more lyrical approach. More, I would like my songs to be more piano oriented and with strings as well, more focused on vocals, and to leave behind some pop rock arrangements which have characterized Man on Earth. I'm really proud of Men on Earth, but it's like those songs were more into into being a little bit stronger, more energetic. This time, as I told you before, I've just become father, so these songs will be more family oriented, dedicated to my wife and to my daughter, and I would like to keep the simplicity of the feelings when I wrote these songs, and to make them as simple as possible and as true as possible as well.
Mm-hmm. And we're certainly looking forward to it as well, too. And just amazing career. What's coming up for Antoba? We'll find out just 1 minute. You listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SoundCloud Studios. Visit online at SoundCloudStudios.com for really needs. And brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson Zia Missing, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. We'll be back with you, multi-talented singer-songwriter from Malta Antoba after this time out. We're back with singer-songwriter of 20 years from Malta Antoba here on the Mike Wagner Show. We talked about glimpses of heaven, man on earth, and more. And what else can we expect from you in 2023 and beyond, Antoba?
Okay, as I told you, I will be working at the beginning of the next year. I will be working on a new EP, which is made up of 5 songs. So as soon as they're ready, they will be spread everywhere. And then I would like to start playing again throughout Europe. In the first place, but I would like to do something which is very authentic and acoustic, me, my voice, my hands, and my piano. I would like to, without a band. Something in the past, I used to be supported by other musicians, but this time, as I told you, the songs that I'm going to record are going to be quite acoustic, so piano based. So I would like to reflect that in my live setting as well.
Okay, we're certainly looking forward to it as well, Antoba. And who do you consider biggest influence in a career?
My biggest influences in my career. So, okay. I have already mentioned, okay, gospel music, or in terms of literature, Langston Hughes, or many others, because of literature, Emily Dickinson, Kerouac, On the Road, or yeah, Patti Smith's music and books that have all inspired me. Besides my interest for gospel, so it's quite my background is quite diverse. The influences that I have is quite diverse. Also because I am the youngest of 4 children, so in a way, while growing up with my family, I was also soaking up the influences that came from my older brother and sisters. My sisters was very much into rock. She loved Jeff Buckley, Nick Drake, Bob Dylan, and Patti Smith. So all of these rock influences, I embrace them while staying with her. On the other hand, my sister, the other sister of mine, used to play the cello, so she was more into classical music, and this also inspired me. Also in the way you perceive the arrangements. So all of these influences are very important. As I told you, as I mentioned before, I mentioned singer-songwriters such as Blue by Johnny Mitchell really inspired me, or Tapestry by Carole King. I
One of my
love the way.
favorites. Yes.
Yes, I love the way she plays the piano. I love the way she's so lively and so positive, and it's amazing. And Harvest by Neil Young. And what else? There are so many influences. Sometimes I'm not even aware of the influences that I have, but they are there. Someone like Garfunkel, The Sound of Silence. And when I was 11, I was really into the Cranberries or Smashing Pumpkins, this kind of bands as well, which were a bit maybe depressing. Can I say that? But I love that.
Yeah. You can say it. It's fine. So yeah, I love
But,
having cranberry fun listening to them too.
maybe I'm not fair. Maybe I'm not fair by saying that. But they anyway made such. They produce very great songs. Um, And what else can I tell you? Yes, and in these last years, as I told you, I'm from Italy. I'm from the south of Italy. I'm from Sicily, and this is very important because it's anyway. Being from Sicily is always something that you bring inside of you, and there is also a strong connection with your family, your roots. And so that's why the influences that I soaked up in my family are always with me. And but in Malta, where I've been living now for quite a long time, I've also involved in the arts, in the performing arts, singing in music productions or yeah, in theater productions on many levels, contemporary productions or musicals. And that's also very interesting and part of myself as an artist, of my journey as an artist.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now, sir,
And
go ahead.
yeah, what else? What others? What other influences? But also jazz music. For example, I'm a big fan of Keith Jarrett music. His solo piano albums are amazing. And yeah, so it's quite diverse. And yeah, but I also like the R.E.M. So bands like this, which they seem to be quite on R.E.M. or Keith Jarrett, they are quite, two separate worlds. But both of them, I enjoy listening to them. I enjoyed listening to them while growing up. And in a way, I think that what you listen when you are a teenager or in your early 20s, when you listen to something that resonates with you, you bring it inside of you. And while you grow up, you always try to get back to the things that you liked when you were younger. And in a way, those influences, even now, I'm not so aware of those influences. They are in me, and they come out in what I do, in the work that I do, in a way or in another today.
And certainly amazing as well, too. A wealth of influence which shapes you. It's amazing. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
Hmm. Any advice?
What's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
To do something, for me it's very important to do something you are proud of. When you do something, do follow your heart, because your heart knows better than your mind.
Hmm.
But the point is that I think um, that the two things are connected, because your heart gives you the inspiration and your mind tells you how to do things in a more technical way. So both these two things are both important, and it's important to follow your heart and then your technicality, and uh, and to do something not to be in the spotlight, but to do something just because you love it, because you're proud of it, and think that you will have to be proud of that song, of what you're doing, even in 10 years time. And that song stays as something. Just, I write a lot of songs, but I'm aware that sometimes certain songs are not ready yet. They require a lot of times. Other songs, you write them in 5 minutes and they're ready. Casos on Air was I was 21 when I wrote it. I came back from university. I was so angry. I don't know what happened, but I had a sort of argument with someone. I came back, I sat at the piano and I wrote the song. In 5 minutes, I had the lyrics, the melody, everything was there. But I closed the piano and I said to myself, I will never sing this song again because it was a way to release my stress, to get rid of the anger that I was feeling at the moment of writing, and the song remained there for many years. When I decided to compile an album, Man on Earth, I listened to some of my previous demos and I said maybe this song deserves to be included, and so I did. And in the end, is one of my favorites on the album.
Certainly as well, too, we'll be playing Castles on Air at the end of the audio interview, once again with the multi-talented singer-songwriter of 20-plus years from Malta Antoba here on the Mike Wagner Show. Antoba, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Learned a lot. Looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. And once again, what's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your music?
Okay, basically, if you want to follow me on either Facebook or Instagram, you can look for Antoba Music or my songs. So look for Antoba official channel on YouTube as well. And yeah, if you want to know more about me, you can follow these three platforms. And for my music, Spotify, Deezer, Pandora, Apple Music, they are all there. My tracks are all there, so they can be easily found.
We will certainly check those out. Once again, Antoba, very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having it soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. Wish you all the best. And Antoba, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Bye.